All right, I guess we're clocked in. Hey, what's going on, party people? Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. It's definitely a pleasure to have you here. I go by the name of Lespri. I am a spiritual healer. And essentially, as a spiritual healer, what I do pretty much is that I help people to become mentally and emotionally balanced. And the whole idea of helping you to become mentally and emotionally balanced is just so you could attain your highest level of consciousness. Another way of saying this would be, for me, I help you to become Christ-like or the Buddha-like. And the one thing you need to understand about Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, whoever else, you know, um, those are simply a representation or a manifestation of anyone who has attained that highest level of consciousness. And if you get to learn about their path, then you'll see they had to go inwardly. They've been tested, through meditations. No matter what that is they have done all of these things just so now they they became bright. They became the enlightened ones, the bright ones, the shiny ones. They became the Illuminati or the illuminated one. All of that referring to is just simply you reaching your highest level of consciousness. But for you to do that, it's important for your emotions and your intellect or your mental to become in alignment. I mean, I hope, for the most part, if you emotionally unbalanced, you're not going to have your highest state of understanding. Just like another way of saying this would be if you're depressed, you're not going to have the best state of mind or you're not going to see things from the brightest fucking state of mind. It doesn't work that way. And it's also pretty much the whole idea of mind, body, and soul. So therefore your emotions and your intellect has to become one, or they got to become in alignment, because that's when and that's only how you would be able to attain your highest level of consciousness. Otherwise, as if your emotions are as pretty much fucking up your mental, then you become one-sided. And vice versa. Let's just say, your intellect game is strong, then you're suppressing your emotions. Big mistake. But most people think to be spiritual, you have to suppress your emotions. And if that's the case, then you become rigid. You're missing out on the small things. And those little small things are really big things. Then you become like Judge Dredd, like I always say. You're the law. You become the law. At this point, there's no emotions that's being involved. So again, you became one-sided because you're not looking at the bigger picture. And if that's the case, how do you attain your highest level of consciousness when you're one-sided? That math is not mathing. So again, the whole idea of you becoming emotionally and as just so you become the Christ. And your your objective is for you to become the Christ. Or maybe I should say should be. But anyway, now when I'm talking about, helping you to be emotionally and mentally balanced. Now let's start off with the emotions. What I do pretty much, oh, excuse me, spiritual verb, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, so that means we're about to talk some shit. So when I'm talking about being emotionally balanced, what I'm referring here, I mean, it's definitely you knowing what your emotions are. First of all, you got to know what the fuck emotions are. And then at that point, once you understand what your emotions are, then you'll be able to identify or even to create your emotional patterns. And at that point, if there's any type of, let's just say, emotional blockages, then now you have the ability to transmute or to remove those blockages. But that has a lot to do with you acknowledging and understanding, having a direct relationship with your emotions. In fact, when you go see a shrink, that's pretty much what they try to help you to do, by asking you certain questions, trying to get to know you, what happens to you as a young kid, and all of that shit. In the occult, we call it healing your wounded child. Because what they're doing here, or what's happening by, you acknowledging your emotions, you are pretty much trying to identify, those early pain that you had, that you may have held on to. And just like we were talking about, if you're depressed, so therefore, by you holding on to those early pain, you're not in your highest level of understanding because you also became one-sided. So it's important for you to have a direct relationship with your emotions, for you to actually, have the highest level of understanding or clarity or mental clarity. Now, in addition to that, I also help you to become mentally balanced. Now, when I'm talking about being mentally balanced, what I'm talking about here, it's the same baseline. I mean, understanding here. We're talking about, well, you have to understand how your minds work. And in addition to that, you also need to understand how were you trained to think. Because what you're doing is by becoming mentally balanced, you're becoming more aware of your mental, but most importantly, of the interaction that you're having with other stuff. Just like society plays a big part on how you see things, your culture plays a big part in that. So for you to have the highest level of clarity, you got to be aware of these things. So that's why I always tell people when we talk about spirituality, and I'll get to that in just a second, it's your regular life. This realm is your spiritual battlefield. This is where you get to elevate. And by elevate, this is where you get to materialize the divinity in you. And again, this is your regular life. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. So, essentially, as a spiritual healer, that's what I do. And having those two becoming in alignment, now you could see the bigger picture. You have attained the highest level of consciousness, and that's pretty much what it is. Now, if you're coming back, you already know, baby. This is listen. It's always a pleasure to have you back. You know what I'm saying? You know what we do here? We break bread. We elevate each other. Like this is a safe space. You listen. You're in the right neighborhood. Come get your medicine. I got it for you. Mm. Now, with all of that being said, I feel like it's gonna be a good one. You know what I mean? But anyway, with all of that being said, as a spiritual healer, spirituality is the tool that I use that allow me to help you to become mentally and emotionally balanced. Now, with that being said, it's only right that, I spend a little bit of time, pretty much telling you what spirituality is. It's only fair. Now, as I was saying not too long ago, when we're talking about spirituality, it's simply your life. What does that mean? Okay, I got you. I got you. It means pretty much, spirituality is pretty much telling your story, humanity's story. And as you delve more into your humanity or into yourself, then you get to learn more and more about you. For instance, some of the basic, and also I forgot to mention the occult pretty much when we're talking about the occult, the esoteric knowledge, those sacred texts, what they talking about or what those are pretty much a manual to help you to have a deeper understanding of who you are. For instance, if you know anything about the occult, some of the basic shit they will teach you is that you have a conscious mind and you also have a subconscious mind. What they're doing by helping you to identify or to realize there is a subconscious part to you is pretty much they helping you to be conscious of the things that you're not conscious of. And that's how it's helping you to have a deeper understanding of your ordinary life, or as ordinary as this shit may appear to be. Because as you learn more about the occult, because now, pretty much when you're dealing with the occult, we were talking about the sacred text, but what that is also, you're dealing with the aspect of yourself that is not visible. That's why, for the most part, personally, all right, they call it's the hidden culture. Personally, I don't really like that definition, but I understand what it means. And I feel like sometimes if you don't truly understand what they're talking about, it may throw you off a little bit. Because when you're talking about the hidden culture, like first of all, dealing with hiding, hidden, it's nothing that is being kept away from you. That's not what this is saying at all. What this is truly saying, it's something that you got to look for because it's not right in front of you. I mean, it is, but it isn't. And then also, as part of the occult, the Indian called this world what is called Maya. Maya simply means illusion. An illusion means it's not what it appears to be. And also now we have quantum physics who had also validated this fact by telling you matter, what you're looking at, let's just say matter, it's simply condensed energy. I mean, I don't know for anybody else, but that should fucking blow your mind off. Like, you could be like, what the fuck? Well, I mean, if you understand what they're saying. In other words, they're saying the shit that you're touching, which is matter, the shit you are interacting with, is truly energy. And if you know a little bit more, that's why you'll understand, everything you come in contact with. Or if you're psychic, that's how we're able to read shit. Because what we're simply doing is reading or being able to see the message or the intelligence that is being pretty much displayed in that energy. Because energy has intelligence or is intelligence. Because when you truly get to know our true nature, as the Kabbalion says it, and I love the way they actually put it together, they're saying that you are a living mind. I mean, if you really think about it, like our life is based pretty much on our perspective. You want to change your life? Well, change the way you look at shit. You want to make the world a better place? Well, change the man in the mirror. What all of this is referring to, again, is your true nature. So therefore, we are more than what we appear to be. So that's why for me, for the most part, when people are not able to identify themselves with spirituality, or you don't even see it as part of your regular life, that's because you don't know your true nature. In other words, you are ignorant. Because if you really see everything that we do, even in our ordinary languages, some of the shit that we do, it reveals, some level of energy, some levels of, what I'm saying, our true nature. I mean, whether you are conscious of it or not. And even if you're not conscious of it, let's just say you only identify yourself with the physical or with dick and pussy, right? But there's a lot more to you than that. That's why people go out to have a good time. That's why people go out to vacation. What you're doing is there's another part of you that you're also feeding. So, in so many words, to truly know your nature is truly know that you are indeed a living mind. So, therefore, when we're talking about spirituality, it's nothing but your regular fucking life. And even when we say to get to know somebody, what are we really talking about? Although we may not conscious of it, yeah, I see you, I know what you look like, I know your name, but I know now there's more to you, right? So I need to know your character, your personality, because these are the things that would really tell you about who that person is. So again, here we are looking at each other on a physical plane, but yet there is more to you than what you appear to be. And that's what makes this world a world of fucking illusion. Doesn't mean it's fake. I mean, there's a big difference between illusion and fake. And in fact, when someone transition or someone dies, there's no spirit in that body. There's no living mind. There's no energy in that body. So I'm saying that to say, you are more than what you appear to be. So again, one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to spirituality is that a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't really relate to it. But that's also because, for the most part, you've been trained to only identify yourself with your physical self, and as a result, that's why the world that you're living in, it's by design. And in so many words, if you really want to talk about the matrix, well, that's what the matrix is. Then now, because you have identified yourself with the physical self, then your accomplishment, then you're seeking for validation. It's only right. Then now you're living in a society where people are pretty much living their lives based on who they should be instead of who they are. So again, out of ignorance, a lot of us we don't relate to spirituality. It's like it's not the basketball game. It's not the same feeling that you get from a basketball game. And not knowing or having a deeper understanding to understand, that's why these guys are able to do great things. Again, this is all mental. That's why you'll see guys like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they telling you how important it is to be mentally strong. So even the basketball game that they fucking playing with the ball, it's more than fucking that. So it's not what it seems like. Or let's just say it is that and more. Because what we're doing also, we want to be able to embody all of it. But in the mix of it all, Now, what we're doing, that's why we are religious person or people, meaning now we are creating the divine in a human form. So again, to talk about spirituality, it's simply it's the story of humanity, which is you scratching your ass, walking around, drinking, smoking, or killing. You know what I'm saying? Or even loving. I mean, it embodies it all. So then now you have the occult, right? So I was talking about the occult that now comes in when we're talking about those sacred knowledge, those manuals. The occult is nothing but a manual, that helps you to deal with that hidden side of you. Then now I'll tell you, guess what, man? You have a third eye. In addition to that, guess what else? You have chakras. Oh shit. You know what I'm saying? And in the meantime, if you were to cut your body open, show me where your chakra is. You know what I'm saying? It's not what it appears to be. And then if you understand the whole chakra system, those different organ that we are using, let's just say when you talk about your base chakra, your fucking heart chakra, I mean what you're doing is you're dealing with the energy that is located in those situations. I mean in those locations. And of course, because everything is all mental, your chakra goes beyond just the physical body too. It's also a state of mind. You know how people would tell you, well, if you want to be grounded, you put your feet, you just pretty much walk, I mean, bare feet, right? Beautiful. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. But grounded also means you got to have your state. It's also having a higher state of mind too. I guess I'm saying in so many words, there's different levels to it. There's different, I mean, and your chakras goes beyond even your survival chakras. You would have to adjust. There's a level of understanding that you need to have, for you to operate beyond just your survival shit. And, you know, I guess I'll just say that, just to say it real quick. Your true survival is so you to find the kingdom of God. But anyway, it just needed to be said. So again, going back to spirituality, it's your regular life, bro. And due to our ignorance, unfortunately, we do not identify with it. It's you feel like it's outside of you. So now when you become spiritual, what you're doing pretty much is that you start to become a little more aware of you being more than dick and pussy. Then now you talk about energy. You don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to be part of any part of toxicity. Then now you understand. Your how important it is to be mentally healthy. But all of that, what you what you pretty much depicting here is that you have understood that you're dealing with energy, and you also understand that you are more than dick and pussy. Again, you're just having a deeper understanding of your fucking ordinary life. So now that I guess we pretty much have a good understanding of what your spirituality is, which is pretty much, your essence, your true nature. And as you're learning about your true nature, guess what you're doing? You are transcending what is called matter. You're not rejecting it, you're not denying it. You just got to know a deeper side of you. And by you knowing that deeper side of you, that's why they say knowing the truth or know thyself, and that will set you free. I can't recall. I mean, I'm not paraphrasing. You get the point. Again, your ordinary life. Nigga, how do you want it? Okay, I think we should. I think we should be good on that. Let's move along. Now, as you see in the title here tonight, we're gonna be talking about rituals and ceremony, right? Because again, keep in mind, and here's something else too. I always take the time and talk about spirituality because listen, if you understand that part, oh, listen, man, you are in the game, baby. And that's part of your awakening as well, meaning now you're having more awareness of who you are. Keep going. I got you. Do you see what I'm saying? And for me, that's why I always take the time. Sometimes, hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna try to keep it short. But if you understand that much, mate, you balling. You balling out here. Yeah, you balling, baby. You know what I'm saying? You're doing something good. Keep going. Now, having that understanding of what spirituality is, now let's deal with rituals and ceremony. Because a lot of us, and just so you guys know too, every culture does it. It might varies a little bit, but for the most part, all cultures that I know or that I am aware of, they celebrate birth. You celebrate weddings, funerals. Well, I guess baptism could also be part of, baby showers and all that shit. You are truly celebrating a newborn coming into this world. So that kind of shit been happening for fucking ages. But because we no longer identify, well, let me say that too. Because I was watching this thing, right? And Denzel Washington was talking about how the Egyptians, they try to take gold with them. I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, this is the misconception of not understanding rituals, right? So you're looking at how bright these guys were, and they were trying to take gold with them, But I understand where that understanding comes from too. It comes from a European perspective because, which is a limited perspective. You tend to look at things only from the surface. And that is the reason why a lot of us, we think we are smarter than our fucking ancestors. And the reason being is because you got Bluetooth, nigga. That's all it is. You got Bluetooth. You got dollar burgers. These niggas didn't have that. They had to go hunt. And then somehow, and that's why a lot of the indigenous were looked at as being savages. How? How? You know what I'm saying? These guys were I mean, they were in tune with nature. This is as civilized you can ever get. And the reason why they did that because they knew who they were and they understand the relationship that they had with nature. Because as you get to know you as a living mind, then you see energy all around you. This is we are surrounded in a fucking electromagnetic field. Where do you think your electricity comes from? Again, we're talking about condensed energy, a fucking illusion. and I also talk about the idea of time. Anyway, I mean, you guys could check out. I mean, but all of that is related to the fact that we have a misconception, even of our ancestors. Somehow, like I have somebody even say, like you think, okay, like I have this, right? Like the ancestors, they used to worship clay. You think they were worshiping clay, man? Are you mad? That's because of your misconception, but most importantly, of the disconnection that we have with them, but also due to our ignorance. Because it doesn't make sense. And a lot of us don't understand the science behind it. Let's put it this way, right? You know how people always tell you, man, I'm not sure, I don't know, man, but there's some shit. When I write shit down, that's why people tell you, your dreams, write it down. Well, there's nothing superficial about it. If you understand your nature, you understand the occult, then you should write it down. Because what you're doing by writing the shit down is literally you taking it out of the darkness, you bringing it into the light. That's why it's important for you to have a budget. Because having a budget gives you better control because now you become more aware. I mean, your spending, you become more aware of your spending. Now your spending habit is no longer dormant, meaning it's not you not you it's because you didn't acknowledge it before. So by you writing your shit down, you are materializing it. That's why they talk about having a vision board. You can see it. That's what you're doing with this. It represents something. Then now you have it around you. Now that energy or whatever the fuck that shit represents, it's no longer dormant. Now it becomes active. So when you see the fucking Egyptians or all the fucking different religion or you know what I'm saying, they all have statues. You know what? I think I'm going too far. When you see a statue, let's just say of Michael Jordan, isn't that a representation of his legacy, of his excellence? When you see, oh yeah, man, this is Michael Jordan there, but you know it's not him, but it's what that statue represents. Now that became alive. In other words, again, like I was saying, it's taking it out of the darkness. You bringing it into the light. And for you to become more aware, you got to be more aware of what's happening in the darkness. In other words, you got to become more aware of what you don't see, and you're becoming more self-conscious and more conscious. So I'm saying all of that to say because we're gonna get into the ritual and ceremony, but I want you and I want to give you the baseline of I'm trying to show you where we're trying to go here. But yet, I'm trying to get you to adapt this mentality. Listen, I mean, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Even for us to think we were smarter than these mother that shit is crazy. Nigga, I'm 42 years old, right? Born in Haiti. Like I remember in me growing up, right? Like I used to memorize. My memory game was insane. I could retain like probably 10 to 15 phone numbers. I know such and such. And it probably was the same thing for you too. So nowadays you got everybody on speed dial. You lose your phone, start working out for you. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I struggle to remember my daughter's phone number. I should say I should. But when I realized that, I said, oh no, fuck that shit. We're going to memorize this number. But I'm saying all of that to say, even in a short period of time, and this is just me, I'm not even going as far as, let's just say, the 1900s. I'm just telling you, not even 50 years ago, that capacity that I had, and look at the actual capacity that we have now. So, in terms of how can we even think about you were better than these niggas? That's crazy to me. Even when we're talking about the indigenous, right? Like, just because, I mean, the level of self understanding that they have, that's what they were civilized. Those were the civilized people. Even after hunting, they would still bless the fucking nigga. What? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm saying all of that to say, I want you to start looking at it from that perspective because I'm saying all of that to say we're going to get into rituals because a lot of our ancestors, that's what they did. Again, as spiritual I mean, beings or spirits that we are, once you get to know your true essence, I mean, you are that anyway. The only difference would be you have to wake up to it. You have to acknowledge it more. And that's what becoming conscious is. I mean, I guess the new term is woke, becoming woke. Well, there you go. It's having more understanding of what's around you. Hopefully, you I would hope you go inward more. I mean, I guess that's one level to it. You get to see what's happening around you. That's beautiful. But it doesn't stop there. And that level of consciousness that you are attaining is changing your realities, literally. And that's what we call also in the occult, that's how you purify your existence or you purify everything around you. And that's how, for me as a spiritual healer, that's how I give sight to the blinds. That's how I heal others by giving them the sight. That's how I enable the ones who are not able to walk. Now they can walk. Come on now. I feel like I'm preaching. I feel like I'm preaching, baby. Again, like there are so many different avenues that we can actually go to. But again, again, I'm trying to show you, I'm holding the mirror of knowledge so you could see your essence. So now when we have rituals now that are becoming part of it, so it's nothing spooky, it's no witchcraft, it's part of your nature. If you bow your head before you eat, that's a ritual. You know what I'm saying? That's a ritual right then and there, dog. In the name of Jesus. Hey, you label it however you like, however make you feel more acceptable. But that's on you, my niggas. That's on you. I'm just holding on to the mirror, and that's what we also call the great mirror, the mirror of wisdom. because we understand. And ironically, and I didn't even mention that I had a recording yesterday where I was talking about the lips of wisdom is closed except to the ear of understanding. I totally forgot to mention that. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. This is all. That's why you want to change your life. You got to go inward. Again, this is all referring to your ordinary life. You know what I'm saying? Now you may choose to. I mean, and this is also making a statement too. It's all spiritual too. You see, when the monks choose to dress the way they're dressed, they're making a statement. I get it, but don't get that confused. Like this is what spirituality is. Oh no, it goes beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Just because you don't dress that way seem like doesn't make you not spiritual. No, 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 no. That's your state of mind that comes with that. There's a whole purpose behind what the fuck they doing. It's this. It's all beautiful. It's all part of it. That's why you don't have to fit into anything, but you do need to understand how everything works because it gives you. That's how you attain the highest level of consciousness. Because you don't want to be one-sided, do you? And if you are, how could you? I mean, you wouldn't be able to have your highest level of understanding. You know what I'm saying? That's when, at this point, you either become a Buddhist or you become a Christian. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Whereas there's a lot more to us. But anyway, we're going back into ritual now because I wanted to break the ice, or maybe I wanted to simplify it to help you to realize it's already part of it's you already doing it, even if you don't call it that, or even if you're not aware of what you're doing. And again, every society that I know of so far, we all celebrate life. We celebrate weddings. When you go to a wedding, that is a ritual. Now, I mean, rather you understand it or not, you're still performing rituals. Right. Not only that, you're being part of it too. That's what you do when you go to somebody's wedding. You are part of a ceremony. Now, when we're talking about rituals, this is what you need to understand, right? So, if you're looking at, let's just say, you celebrate life before life comes in. If somebody died, there's a funeral, there's a certain way you dress, you're paying respect to the dead, however you would like to label it. Baptism, what else? What else can I really think of? Weddings, and we already talk about that. All you're doing pretty much, if you're looking at those sets of actions, right? It's it's a rite of passage. This is you looking to manifest or materialize. How can I say this? This is pretty much you manifesting something. Now you do it, you have your rites of passage. It's that transition right before that shit happens. You celebrate life not when the baby's born, but before the baby comes, right? And then after the baby comes, then you have baptism. Now at this point, that's another ritual again. Because all you're doing by getting your kids baptized, a lot of you guys don't understand it. What you're truly doing is that you are acknowledging that spirit in human form. And now, what you're also saying is that now we'll be taking care, we're going to make this spiritual baby one of us, a part of us, and we swear, lack of better terms, to pretty much, I'm being dramatic too, as well. You know what I'm saying? Just adding a little bit of sauce. You know what I'm saying? Being saucy a little bit. So, and then you also saying now, you're taking on the responsibility to raise that spiritual being, and that's what you see. Let's just say in Africa, that's what we do as part of our rituals. You know what I'm saying? And then also, we also have other rites of passage too. Because what you're doing is you're doing the ritual so that you can get something else. Now you're making something becoming visible. For instance, if you see the movie 300, right? The little kid in the very beginning of the movie, when they were talking about he had to face his fear, because we understand for you to become a man, you had to face your fear. So part of the ritual, the ceremony was you had to go out there and kill whatever the fuck the lion was. And that symbolizes as well. I mean, although they could do it physically too, but what you're truly doing is conquering, is you owning your own fear now. That's your rites of passage to allow you to get to the next level. But, well, it's not but. But is not the right word here. Again, in addition to that, what you're truly doing is you're shifting that level of consciousness. What are some of the best ways that we learn, we evolve? Through experiences. So those rituals allow you to adapt, you know, those, the state of mind that comes with the type of fucking experiences that you got to go through. It's helping you to attain that highest level of consciousness, or of understanding. So by you mastering your fear, right, facing yourself, now we could say you have become a man. But above it all, what you're truly doing, again, is everything I just mentioned. So I'm saying that to say, so that you can have the ritual is you to make it part of your life. You're already doing it anyway. And that's the good news. Just but you got to okay. So if you want to learn how to drive a car, you don't have to be a mechanic, man. But you got to know, the brake pedals. You got to know the gas pedal. I mean, there's so many things that you got to know about the car. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's the same idea here. For you to get to be able to drive the car, you got to know about cars, not to to the extent of a mechanic man, but the basics. Same thing. If you're looking to meditate, well, you got to know what meditation is. How do you get the best out of meditation if you don't know what the fuck meditation is? So again, going back for you to understand, when we're talking about ritual and ceremony, it's part of our lives. We are going through it. We're living it. But most importantly, it's all mental. So no. the fucking Egyptians were not trying to take gold with them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's see what's gonna happen. Because if that was the case, so and so did it. The next one also did it. The other one also did it. You don't think they're like, oh, the gold didn't go? The fuck? Like, okay, so I mean, at one point, somebody got to be like, hey, man, we added a lot of gold for that. Let's just say that King, whatever, whatever the fuck, the gold still remain there. But here I am. I'm gonna do the same shit for me too. Foolishness, blasphemy, blasphemy. I mean, listen, if anybody know that they couldn't take the gold with them, it would have to be these motherfuckers because of the connection that they had with the divine. But anyway, I was saying all of that because it all tied up to rituals and ceremony. I think I could live it here. It's under a fucking hour, which is good because I have another one coming up. Because I feel like working today, but I got so many different things that I want to touch on. And that was also another reason why I wanted to talk about ritual and ceremony too, because after I seen that video, I'm like, oh no, 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 no. You know, I mean, it's good, it's good. I mean, but I understand where that understanding comes from too. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we tend to look at these people like I don't know, like I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And being better than them, not because what you're talking about here nowadays, what we call the modernized culture, is that we have created again like sure, another fucking illusion on top of the illusion that we already know. And a lot of our ancestors had direct connection with nature, so therefore they had a higher level of consciousness. And pretty much the more disconnected that we are becoming in so many words, you know what I'm saying? Then you're talking about, you know what I'm saying, products. You have more products today, man. You know what I'm saying? You got more products, you got AC, you got all that. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I mean, in terms of, I mean, does it, I mean, I'm not saying it's not physically, how can I say, not necessarily better. I mean, better, fuck it. Necessarily, yeah, physically better, for lack of better terms. Again, but what about the other aspect of us? Because to truly be civilized, you have to be in tune with yourself. And by you being in tune with yourself, that's how now you're able to treat others and acknowledge things. That's why these guys, just like I was talking about before, even though when they going out like for hunting and shit, after killing the animal, they still prey on it. There you go, another ritual again. You know what I'm saying? Because essentially, what you're also doing here is that you are inviting the divinity into your life. You are embodying that divinity in this life. And that's why when we say worship nature, it's not worshiping nature in the sense of, you know what I'm saying, like it's God, but we understand there's a level of godhood or godness in them too. Because just like when we talk about metaphysics is simply telling you the same shit that takes place in the physical in nature also takes place in your life. And that's what our ancestors understood. That's why we say we learn from nature. I mean, we say it all the time, you rip what you sow. Do you see what I'm saying? You're not gonna fucking plant banana and you're gonna get mango. So if you could understand that in nature, nature is also teaching you accountability as well. But all of that has to do with your level of how much you understand yourself. And that's why you'll see any wise man or any of the great enlightened ones, Jesus as a fisherman always used those type of fucking examples. He talks about what is it? The seed guy. Again, this is all aspects showing you things around you. And I believe he was also using nature. I mean, I don't recall the whole thing because that was a long time ago. But for the most part, I think he was walking along the way, going through the journey. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we do as a spiritual healer. Me telling you about this shit. Some people will receive it a certain way. It would grow, but then again, but then what I'm saying, all of that, using nature because he had, he understood the connection between him and nature. But that comes with a level of consciousness. And that's where you have metaphysics beyond physics. And again, this is all boils down to your nature. And all I'm doing, and all the great ones were doing and have done, was to help you to remember, to reconnect. Another way of saying, come back home. Talking about this regular life. You know what I'm saying? That's all that shit is. That's why your spirituality, you have to materialize your spirituality. It's to be materialized. You have to be you have to embrace the Godhead in you, and that's how you become the God walking amongst men or amongst the one who do not know who they are. But anyway, to summarize, when we're talking about ritual and ceremony and all of that different things, it absolutely there's nothing spooky. I mean, I guess if you're ignorant, meaning you don't know what it means, you don't understand what's taking place, then I get it. They were trying to take gold with them. But if you understand rituals, you understand ceremony, but most importantly, you understand your true nature. Then ritual is it's all around us. We do it every fucking day. We celebrate life, funeral, everything I was talking about here. And when two people are becoming in alignment, what you call your marriage, and then before God, so again, in everything that we do, we actually reveal our true nature, consciously or unconsciously. And all you're doing by becoming Christ like or Buddha like or becoming the enlightened one the bright one, the illuminated one, the shiny one. That's exactly what that is. It's to attain that highest level of consciousness. And at this point, just like the ancestors did, just like Jesus did, just like the ascended masters did, I'm doing my part. I'm just doing my part, baby. Now, with all that being said, we're gonna leave it here. Always remember, the remedy of the pain is in the pain. For you to be yourself, nobody else could be around. And if you can't tell me how much you grow, or you can say to yourself how much you've seen yourself growth, you have not grown. In other words, can't, if you don't know how stupid you used to be, you're probably still stupid. I see. Not me.